Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel where we choose my monthly TBR from my prompt jar, TBR jar, whatever you want to call this. It's very much looking low, but I don't like putting the same prompts that I've already used. You can't see them, they're down here. I don't like putting all of them back in and getting like the same ones over and over. So we're gonna probably pull from this at least one more time before I update this. This is my June TBR, by the way, if I have not said that yet. I usually choose about 6 prompts from the jar because that's just fun and I like to have some options but also have room for mood reading. I'm trying to think what books I already have in mind new release wise. I know Releasing 10, as I'm filming this, it's like end of May, it's not June yet. In like 3 days, Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh comes out and I am 100% planning to read that in June, if not as soon as it comes out. Really kind of depends on the timing of things, but yeah, Releasing 10 is 100% on there. What else? Is there anything else that's coming out end of May, beginning of June that I'm forgetting? The Night and the Moth also just came out, but I already went and grabbed that from the store yesterday, so that's on my TBR cart back here. Let's look at my not out yet list. Yeah, I think it's just Releasing 10 until July. There might be, oh, Left of Forever I want to grab at some point too. First published May 20th. Oh yeah, that is out. So maybe when I'm at the store next week grabbing Releasing 10, I might get that as well, because that is one that I want to read at some point soonish. So those are kind of 2 that I have in mind that'll kind of be on top of whatever we pick today. So let's get to it without further ado. Get them really mixed up in here. Pick number 1. What do we have? What do we have? Ooh, I like to show you guys first. Book you're intimidated by. Of course. Why wouldn't this be on here? You know? Let's take a look down here. I don't know if you can see. If I move, can you see? The shelf we're choosing from is my TBR shelf all the way at the bottom here, and then there's just a couple like new releases on my TBR cart. So a book that I'm intimidated by, Sorrow and Starlight, the Zodiac Academy book number 8, intimidates me because it's huge and like I don't know if I'm in the mood for all the back and forth, but eventually I do want to finish that series, so there's that one. The main one that I would say I'm intimidated by though is The Sword of Kaigen. So is this gonna be the month that I read this? Is June gonna be it? I don't know, that kind of feels right. This was gifted to me, by the way, like I mentioned before, by my friend Caitlin, so shout out to you again, bestie. I hope, don't hold me to this, but I really hope to get to this month of June because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. I don't think this is fantasy romance, which is what I usually read. I think this is more like epic fantasy. It's a standalone, which I also feel like is kind of unique, and it follows Matsuda. On the mountainside at the edge of the Kaiganese Empire live the most powerful fighters in the world, warriors capable of raising the sea and wielding blades of ice. For centuries, the fighters of the Kusanagi Peninsula have held the Empire's enemies at bay, earning their treacherous spit of land the name the Sword of Kaigen. 14-year-old Mamoru has always known his purpose to master his family's fighting techniques, defend his homeland, but when an outsider arrives, pulls back the curtain. Okay, yeah, so I think this is going to be like a lot of politics, and I've also seen a lot of people cry and be really touched by this. So I kind of want to go in blind. I kind of, just from reading those first 2 paragraphs, still don't really know exactly what this is about. But you know what? I'm going to trust. We're going to trust and we're going to have this be the first pick of June. Pick number 2. What are we gonna get? Please, no more intimidating books, please. Although I will say, in the month of May, I did a really good job of getting books off my TBR that have been on there for a really, really long time. All kind of started with some of them being on my May TBR and I read them in a vlog, and then I picked a couple picks after that from my Read It or in Haul jar, and I felt so successful getting, like I said, there's like 4 or 5 books that have been on my TBR for like 2 years. Getting them off felt so good. Some of them I really liked. Ooh. Book with an illustrated cover. What do we count as illustration? Because technically, I feel like all covers are illustrated, but the way that I take this is like illustrated people on the cover, you know? Even though this doesn't say cartoon people, I'm gonna take it like that because otherwise, basically every single cover is illustrated. Let's see what we've got here. There are people on this cover. I don't want to read A Dark and Drowning Tide. I've said this a million times. I just don't feel like it. Illustrated. We have an illustrated person on the cover of Honor. Right, again, I don't know if I feel like reading that one right now. And then I know we have illustrated people on both of these. So we have Her Night at the Museum. This was a gift from my sister-in-law, and it looks like just like a really cute rom-com. Definitely illustrated. And then Whiskey Business, a book that's been on my TBR forever, probably almost 2 years at this point. Maybe like a year and a half, I don't really know. Master Distiller, whiskey, his dog, I think he's like, oh, he's Scottish, love that. I don't like love this cover, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that's why I haven't picked it up yet. So if I read this, this has been on my TBR forever. I could get it off of my TBR. Or I could read this cutie little guy I think is just gonna be silly goofy. I think I'm leaning towards this one. Couldn't tell you why. I think I'm just in the mood for like a silly goofy rom-com. And this is literally about a knight. He's like a knight literally at the museum, and he comes to life. And I think I read like the first page when I first got this book, and it sounds so cheesy and cute. So we're gonna put this as pick number 2 on the TBR for book with an illustrated cover. Pick number 3. What do we got? What do we got? Be something good. Interesting. A book with an illustrated spine. So the counterpart to the last one we picked. Okay, illustrated spine. Can there just be anything on the spine then? Like it just basically can't be like a plain spine, I guess. Ooh, that kind of counts, right? Oh, not me bookering up my brand new books. Shield of Sparrows is one I do want to get to soon. So maybe this one. None of these are illustrated. No. Kind of. No. No, no, no. Yes. It's gonna be between this one again, because the illustration from the front wraps around the spine here, or Shield of Sparrows. And you know what? I think I am leaning towards this one. I have been staring at this since I bought it like a week ago. It's so beautiful. I can't remember the last thing I said, and I can't remember if I actually decided or not, but like I said, I think we are going to go with this one because this to me counts as an illustrated spine. The design of the front cover wraps around, there's flowers, there's a sword, there's leaves and stuff. So for our pick of book with an illustrated spine, we are going with Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I've actually never read anything by Devney Perry. This was definitely one that was influenced by like Bookstagram and just me seeing it everywhere. And then I wasn't planning to buy it anytime soon, but I go to the store and I see, first of all, the edges, and I see the metallic, like gilded cover, and then I see these end papers, and I could not help myself. And I really don't know anything about this. I know it's romantasy. I've heard pretty good things about it. Some people have said, well, I don't really know. Some people didn't love it, but I feel like the majority that I've heard have loved this. This has something to do with gods who unleashed monsters upon the 5 kingdoms of Calandra to remind us that humans are insignificant, that we must pray to the gods for mercy. There's a princess, famous monster. I don't know. It sounds good. Putting it on there. I kind of want to go into this blind. And yeah, so this is pick number 3 on our June TBR. I will be back once again. Okay, I'm back once again. Sorry about that. My husband keeps popping in and out of the house. So I've been talking to him and trying to figure out plans for the day. But anyway, let's get back to our picks. We've picked 3 so far, so now we're on number 4. Really getting low on prompts here. Come on. Give me, I feel like there's a lot in here that I've wanted to get that I still haven't gotten. So let's hope that we get something fun. Okay. The next Zodiac Academy book. Okay, sure. Very specific. Forgot that I had some specific prompts in here. Yeah, so like I was saying, I do need to read the next book in the Zodiac Academy series. She's freaking chunky though, so I have been avoiding it like the plague. I do love this series and I am intrigued to see like what happens, but I don't know if you guys remember or have seen me talking about the last book that I read, book 7. I won't spoil anything, but I just felt like it was very drawn out, way longer than it needed to be, very repetitive. And I've heard the same things for books 8 and 9 too. And that's kind of why I've been putting this off, because I'm like, it's not that I don't care, it's just that sometimes it's too repetitive and too long. And I just find myself not caring as much as I used to in like the beginning of the series. So anyway, we will see if I actually get to this in June or not, but I would really love to get this off my TBR shelf because, like I said, she's massive and this has been intimidating me. So now we have 2 long, intimidating books on the TBR. 3 of these books are, well, is this even really, this is like paranormal romance. It's not really like heavy fantasy. So I guess we really only have like 1 heavy fantasy, 1 romantasy, 1 rom-com, and like paranormal. So we still got a pretty good mix. So yeah, this is number 4 for next Zodiac Academy book. So we've only got 2 picks left and I'm really hoping for something a little lighter, little shorter, you know? Come on. Seriously, come on. Please, for the love of God. Sometimes the TBRs work out like really in my favor and sometimes they don't. We have, ooh, a special edition book. This is interesting because I already picked a special edition book, which was Shield of Sparrows. We just bought The Night and the Moth, but I'm not sure if I want to read that right away. Ooh, Releasing 10 I'm pretty sure is going to be a special edition. I thought I saw that the holographic one was coming out the day it comes out. I hope I'm right about that. Wait, am I? Wait, now I don't know. Am I right about that? No, wait. Releasing 10 is not going to be the holographic one that I'm thinking. Okay, never mind. Disregard everything that I just said and let's try to see what we have for special edition books back here. Ooh, you know what? Ha! Ha! I was thinking I was going to have to choose another like hardcover fantasy intimidating book and that would be just like way too much for June, I feel like. But then I remembered that I have Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles and it has a really beautiful cover and sprayed edges, and pretty much anything that has sprayed edges I consider a special edition. So you know what? This is going to be the one that we're going to go with because I want, like I said, some more short, sweet, easy reads to kind of go in between some of these longer, heavier books. So yeah, this is book 1, I believe, of Sparrow Falls. Again, a series by Catherine Cowles. Elsie Silver has a blurb on here, so that's a good sign. I've seen Destiny Sidwell read these. I've seen a couple people read and talk about these and say that they're kind of like good, like middle of the road, easy books to read. So yeah, I'm excited. I really don't know what this is about at all. Anson Hunt. Ooh, brother's best friend. He's the new contractor working on her house. He's grumpy and rude and attached to solitude. Love that. Until he sees me shatter, because when my world comes crashing down around me, Anson is the one catching me as I fall, and as so-called accidents start plaguing every part of my life, it's Anson who steps in to keep me safe. As he does, I can't help but feel a flicker of heat, and it only takes a single moment for that spark to ignite into flames, engulfing us both. But Anson's a man with secrets, and they have a price. When they're revealed, neither of us will make it out unscathed. I feel like I've heard that this series is kind of like has like a mystery element in them that they're solving too. I could be completely wrong about that. I just, for some reason, when I see this book, that's what I think of. And when I read that, the end of the synopsis, it also makes me think that. So yeah, I don't really know that much about this, but we're putting it on the TBR, which feels good because like I said, I need a couple little easy romances on here with the way this TBR is going. So that is pick number 5 for a special edition book. And yeah, so we are already on the last pick. So come on, make it good. Really mix them up here. Come on, come on, come on. Oh boy. Is that upside down? Book on your TBR for way too long. This TBR jar is out to get me this month, guys. Book that's been on my TBR way too long. Well, let's see. Can you see down here? I really don't know if you guys can see down here. Whiskey Business, like I was just previously telling you, has probably been on my TBR at least a year and a half. The Front Runner by Elsie Silver has been on there for a decent amount of time, but not as long as this one. Unwanted and Honor and The Fragile Threads of Power are all new. Water Moon's pretty new. Revenant Games is new. Oh, Promise of Fire has been on my TBR for forever. Okay, I guess there are a few that have been on my TBR a long time. I would say the 2 that I'm holding have probably been on my TBR for the longest, unless, hold on, let me look at the rest of my shelves. Just to make sure. Yeah, so I would say it's between Whiskey Business and A Promise of Fire. A Promise of Fire is one that I have had for probably 2 years. It's fantasy romance. I've heard really good things about it. There's something about a carnival. Oh yeah, there's a traveling circus. There's an ambitious warlord. So I think this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be like enemies to lovers, but it's kind of giving that. I really don't know anything about this. Yeah, I don't know. So wait, let's see what we have on the TBR so far. We have 1 epic fantasy, We have 2 romances, and then we have a romantasy and a paranormal romance. And I'm not really starting a whole lot of new series. 1, 2, 3. But if I choose another romance, then I'll have 3 fantasy, 3 romance, so that'll be a really good balance. Okay, yeah, you know what? I think that's what we're gonna do. As much as I like really want to get a lot of this fantasy that's been on here forever, like really weeded down or whatever, I do think I'm going to go with Whiskey Business because, like I said, we need some more romance, we need some more light, fluffy reads, some shorter reads. And I do think that it'll be perfect to have 3 fantasy-esque books and then 3 romances, because something about me is I love to go back and forth between genres, especially fantasy and romance. Like, I'll read fantasy and then a romance, and fantasy and then a romance, and for some reason that just seems to work for me. So we're gonna go with Whiskey Business, which has been on my TBR forever, and this, like I said, the main male character is Scottish. He's a grumpy Scottish whiskey distiller. And it also follows our FMC, April Sinclair. She dreamt of escaping her quiet island life to become a world-famous actress. Now fully grown and with her once flourishing career at an all-time low, what better way to figure out where it all went wrong than to go back to the beginning? April has her sights set on a new challenge, and that is saving her family's distillery on the idyllic Scottish Isle of Skye. What she doesn't expect to find is Malcolm McCabe. So his name is Malcolm. He's short-tempered, exceedingly attractive, living in the home she has just inherited. He may be a million miles away from the shy teenager she knew growing up. Oh, so there's some history? I love that. But one thing is for certain, he doesn't want her around anymore. Master Distiller Mal has 3 loves in his life: whiskey, his dog, and silence. He has no time for the pampered princess poking her nose around his distillery, even if said princess is the one who got away. More comfortable in the shadows than the spotlight, Mal is content to wait her out. She'll grow bored and run back to her glamorous world. Ooh, okay, so this is kind of like One of Us is Famous. It's gonna be in Scotland on a little island, which is really fun. There's some history between them, so it's sounding like this might be kind of like Second Chance, and I've been loving Second Chance lately. Like, every Second Chance that I've read recently I've loved. So yeah, we're putting this one as our 6th and final pick for my June TBR, and I'm excited. I'm excited with how this turned out. These are all 6 books that we picked. We have Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong, and then we have Her Night at the Museum by Bryn Donovan. We have Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. Sorrow and Starlight, which is book 8 of the Zodiac Academy by the Twisted Sisters. We have Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles, and then Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher. This is a pretty good mixed TBR. I'm excited about this, so let's put everything on the TBR cart. It's very dark in here, guys. It's gloomy out today, so sorry. Hopefully you can see. Perfect. And then picture releasing 10 on here as well. So, as I said, that's going to be the end of my TBR for June. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe for more videos from me. If you like the TBR videos especially, I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. I feel like people usually really like the TBR jar videos. I love them as well. I love watching other people monthly TBRs. And so yeah. I don't know how to do an outro, but we're gonna go, and I hope to get to all of these in June. I would also love to know what you plan to read in June. What are you most excited to read in June? Let me know below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!